Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's 7 a.m., February 18th, and prices of BTC currently just over $9,700. And again, folks, at the beginning of the video, I like to show you guys exactly the things that we've accomplished for our members. You can see that our members are doing a really fantastic job in this market because they're truly starting to understand what it means to actually trade with technicals, not with emotions, trade with proper risk management, placing your stops properly, being able to take profit properly. And this is something that I also made a video on. If you go to our YouTube channel, I made a video called The 10 Commandments, How to Trade for a Living. And I've been doing this for 11 years now. So I felt like I wanted to show you guys, my trading philosophy, my discipline. It's not really a secret, right? It's honestly just a day in and day out work of just grinding it out in the market, okay? Don't let anyone tell you that the gains that people will show you did not come at the cost of, them first losing their minds or losing some capital, okay? I don't know of any trader, any successful trader at least, who hasn't lost a bunch of money at the beginning and then eventually learned how to play the game and come out on top. That's what it takes. Just like anything in life, you have to be able to put in the work day in and day out, okay? Trading is a marathon, all right? It is not a sprint. You have to do this every single day to be able to understand how to trade the markets properly and not lose your emotions or your mind while doing so, okay? This is something that we teach you at the Cryptosomniac community. So anyway, go to cryptosomniac.com, hit the products page right up there, and then buy the Advantage membership, and you could come trade with us. I can show you guys exactly how we trade. We have leverage trading channels right here on the left, a group chat right here, where this is our Advantage side chat. We talk about Bitcoin only here, or altcoins only this chat room right here. We also talk about, the things that people are struggling with and what to improve on for the week ahead. And then just like these videos that you see, right? I have multiple videos that I do in any given day, okay? And then I do multiple pieces of analysis every day to show people what's happening in this market, what I see, and how we can essentially prepare ourselves, okay? So, these are some mid-afternoon sessions that I do sometimes. I do, morning recorded Zoom sessions like I did for my community yesterday. And so for the most part, the videos that you see on YouTube are free every now and then, right? But a majority of my time and my energy goes to my paid side members, my Advantage members. And you can see they greatly benefit from the amount of information that I put out. Every single day, I'm really putting out multiple updates, what to look out for, where we can start potentially looking out for long positions or short, or if we want to stay out of the market, how are the altcoins doing, So anyway, if you want this kind of attention analysis, come join the Cryptosomniac community, folks, all right? Okay, so let's get to the analysis, okay? First things first, all right, we need to, I wanna show you guys how I identified this golden trading zone right here. Let me make this a different color first. All right, so we'll make this yellow maybe, right? Slightly more yellow up here. Okay, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, so for the most part, what we see is from this particular high range of 10,200 to this low of about 10,000, or I'm sorry, $9,700, okay? That range right there, we broke up above it, all right? And I spoke about this, that if this is going to be a deviation, we want to see price being reaccepted back inside the range. And I did this in a video 3-4 days ago, okay? And that's essentially what happened, right? We saw reacceptance back inside the range right there, and then we dropped down even further, right? So for the most part, when we do reclaim back inside this range again, like we're kind of trying to do right now, like this, okay, this is going to be your first bullish sign. Doesn't mean we're going to be bullish and we're going to go straight up from here. Remember that technicals are oftentimes if this, then that, okay? So if this happens right here and we hold, then we look for the next spot to be broken, which is around 98.50 or so, okay? So this area. And if that breaks, then we start looking at, targeting this particular area right here around $99.50 to $10,000, okay? I would say once you start getting above this EQ right here, the chances are much higher. You can go from this EQ to this area right here, okay, which is about $10,200, okay? But you are not safe and out of the woods until price gets to a certain point, all right? And I'll show you exactly what that certain point is, okay? So let's do this. We're gonna go over here, indicators, all right? And in my favorites, I have this thing called, where is it? Let me pull that up again. Not sure what happened. Okay, so this is a Coinbase chart, right? I mean, you can do this on any chart, okay? So you go over here, and my favorites has the fixed range, okay? So I grab the fixed range from this high right here until where we've been right now, okay? I want you to pay attention to this red line right here. We call this the POC, okay, point of control. This is where a majority of the volume had been transacted in, this high right here all the way to this low so far. So that means that if professionals and bots and algos are trying to get in and out of the market, this would typically be the area that they would want to transact the most amount of volume, because this already has a lot of players who went up and down before this thing sold off. So if price were to come back around, come to this area, either you take profits here and we're going to sell off again, and you maybe short here and go target these lows again, or what price could do is it could come here, consolidate, and then break through, okay? So until this area right here is broken through, right? And it'll probably do something like this, retest, and then use that as a bouncing off point for higher prices. If price does something like that, okay, then the chances are much higher that once you get past this POC, that opens up the doors to 10,800 and almost up to $11,200, okay? Those are some of my higher targets that I'm looking at, all right? But again, like I said, price comes in waves of, if this, then that, right? So if we hold here, chances are we could go to 80 or 98.50. If we could break 98.50, we could get to the EQ. If we could get to the EQ, we can, chances are much higher that we can get to the top of the range around 10,200, which is very close to our POC area, right? So for the most part, I am still long biased, okay? I don't think anything has changed while, most of the people on crypto Twitter and whatnot were going wild when this $1,000 drop happened, okay? My instinct was to be a buyer right here, and that's kind of what we did down here, okay? And now for the most part, I mean, if we start looking at, again, folks, the higher time frames, right? Once that low is put in, there's that higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and another higher low. So nothing structurally has changed, right? I mean, nothing. Even if this is a $1,000 drop, so what? We've had, let's see, okay? So if we go here, right? If we do that drop, we had 1,050, 9.96%, okay? 9.96% is what you want to pay attention to, okay? So from this high right here to this low, we had about a 5.8% drop, okay? From this high right here to this low, we had a 10.8% drop, almost $1,000 there as well, okay? But again, that was 9.9%, right? From this high to this low, this was a 9.3% drop, but a $792 drop, okay? From this high to this low, we had an $840 drop with 10.9%. So almost, 9–10% drops in this movement up have been good pullbacks for good longing opportunities. So I don't get why people are starting to freak out just because we dropped $1,000. And I think the $1,000, especially the way it happened so violently, like in this big candle, excuse me, in this big candle right here, from this high, 10,400 to a low of 97.30, that's a $700 drop, right, in one day. Of course, that's going to freak people out. But this is what happens when you need to scare positions out of the market, okay? So I don't know how to explain to people that this is supposed to happen, first of all, in markets where you have, pretty decent pullbacks, 9–10%, and then the market's probably gearing up for another move. Now, things will change if, I would say, this blue box right here gets broken. Then we will have, if we get down here, we will have violated this trend, which is, just the higher lows that you're seeing, right? Because then we'll do something like this and like that, okay? Which means that we've then taken out the whole, bullish movement, trailing movement of higher lows. But that hasn't happened yet. So we don't need to think about that, until it does, right? For now, our job is to simply look at this as a big, potential SR flip, where you can make the argument right there. That's a big SR flip right there, right? And right there, right? So all this says is this was previous resistance, price broke up through it, used it as support. This was previous resistance right there, price broke up through it, came back around, tested it as support. This was previous resistance right here, price broke up through it, came back and tested it as support. Okay, so the point is, why can't we just do that again right here, right? So, calm the emotions down. And people who are telling you that, okay, that was the top, now we have to go down, they don't know how markets work, right? They're not understanding that, again, like I said, it's if this and that. So has the market given us any indication that this is the top and we're starting to create lower highs and lower lows? Not really, not yet. If they somehow were right, and let's just say, this was the top, and then we go down, that's not because they just knew, okay? They simply took a guess. Any good trader out there will tell you that there's no way to tell if this was a top until this is broken right here. This is how good traders react to the markets, okay? They don't just start predicting wildly saying this is a top, this is a bottom, okay? All right, let's go back to the smaller time frames again, okay? 15-minute chart, right? One positive that I see right now is if you look over here, okay, price is doing its best to kind of try to stay above this pivot area, right? So once we sort of broke up above it just, yesterday, we went up a little bit higher, around 98.25 or so, came back around. Now we're coming back inside the pivot again, went up again above the pivot, came back around again. So what we want to do is we want to see that price is kind of going to go like this. Eventually it's going to tighten up and tighten up, and eventually it's just going to stay on top of the pivot. Okay, this is your first step in understanding that, okay, it looks like price is finally starting to stay above, this pivot area around 97.25, and then it can get back up to, that 98.50 area potentially. Okay, until that happens, there's really no guarantee that, this pivot has to hold. For all I know, we might go down here, which is that, big S1, okay, which is around 97 or 94.75. All right, but I would say this thing looks pretty decent for now. Okay, we broke outside this descending trend line that we were holding. We had a nice pennant form, pushed us up, almost $150. Now we're consolidating, coming back right around that same area, right on top of the previous flag right here. And as long as we continue to move higher, this thing should at least push up to $98.50, $9,900. Okay, let's check out the 4-hour now. Okay, the 4-hour has pivots and S1s pretty far away, but remember that we tested the S1 just yesterday pretty perfectly. Okay, so our next move should be towards the pivot, which is around $10,050. Okay. That's again, if we don't come back and break this S1 right here, all right? And if we turn this off, okay, and turn on the cloud itself, you can see we're right in the middle of the cloud right now, okay? And this is something that we did back here in end of January too. We came back, had a big pullback, retested the middle of that cloud right there, and then took off again, right? So all in all, things look decent, okay? And the fact that, we've kind of created this descending parallel channel and we keep hammering on this middle EQ area right here. Once we sort of start breaking up past it, I have, lesser doubt that we'll have to go lower and higher chances that we'll go to the top of the channel, okay, which is around, close to $10,000 or so right there, okay? Let's see here, daily perspective, we spoke about that. Let's talk about the, RSI right here. Yesterday to my community, I told them that this is the first thing that you need to look out for, which is the RSI, okay? Now, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the RSI, but this is how I kind of use the RSI, okay? RSI to me is nothing but, a provider of understanding momentum, all right? Price itself is really the only thing, in my opinion, that you need to look at. But sometimes the RSI will actually give you clues of accelerated movement to the downside or the upside. And then you can draw these trend lines, which I call fanned trend lines, because each one is a steeper slope of a trend line, right? And so it creates sort of a fan right there, okay? So this is your first big trend line on the outside. This is your middle trend line right here coming up in the middle, and then your bottommost trend line right here. So yesterday when we were over here, okay, yesterday when we were at this first trend line, we were actually over here, okay? And then we dropped down lower, right? But then after, I told my community members that, hey, look out for this trend line right here. And once it starts breaking past this first one, chances are higher that it's going to get to that second one. If it's going to break that second one, chances are much higher it's going to get to that third one. Okay, now third one is usually, because it's such a bigger trend line, it poses a lot of resistance. So by the time, let's just say we get to that third trend line, we should be getting to that 99.50, 10,000 marker, in my opinion, okay? But again, you want to see the break of this second trend line. So you can draw this on your own if you want to on the 4-hour RSI, okay? So in my opinion, the fact that we broke out of the first one and we already retested the second one as resistance, I would be a little bit more confident saying that we should be getting to that third one later today or maybe even tomorrow, okay? I don't foresee any further downside just yet. Excuse me. As long as we stay above this blue marker, which was where we created that big, bullish SFP right here, right? As long as we stay above this key low, we should be looking to push up higher, because I told you guys yesterday, I don't know if I did a free video yesterday, but I told my Advantage members that when we were looking for the downside in prices, look for all these check marks right here to get broken. Why? Because this is where the long liquidity, the long stops sit. And notice that this candle movement right here, all this stuff took out every single one of these check marks. Why is that important? Because if you were long for the last, since February 5th, all the way up here, more than likely you had your stop here, you're here, or here, or here, or here, any of these check marks, or you maybe even had it up here. Everything over here got torched, okay? Every person who was long since the beginning of February, since February 5th, had their stops hit, more than likely, unless their stops are way down here, in which case it doesn't matter, because this was a big consolidation that helped lead to this push. So that's a whole different story. But this was the most recent consolidation that led to this push. And so that got stopped out. So that means a lot of liquidity has been collected right here, right? So chances are much higher that there's not some degenerate longs just sitting there. So the market has actually pushed out a lot of people, and now it's potentially ready to, make that bigger move back up, okay? And now also, this is another bigger trend line that I saw that is being, tested and broken, as you can see. This was a first touch right there around 11.4 or 10.4, lower high right there around 10,020, and then we broke up above it just a few hours ago, came back under. We're trying to do our best to stay above this trend line. Getting above this trend line would probably mean that, again, we have a higher chance to get to this weekly open around 99.50 and maybe the top of the channel around 10,000, okay? Let's see how the Stoch RSI is doing. All right, let's see here. Okay, let me see here. There we go. Okay, the Stoch RSI is coming into overbought territory, but it still has a decent amount of room to go. If prices, sort of come down, it can maybe let the Stoch RSI cool off and get ready for another big leg up. I would say the daily RSI has bottomed and it's now looking for room to the upside, which it has plenty of room in my opinion. So it could run a lot over the next several days. As you can see, every time, let me delete this over here. I got so many things on my chart. I got to figure out how to organize this properly. There we go. Actually, you know what? It's okay. What was I talking about? Daily RSI. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Every time the Stoch RSI has bottomed, as you can see right there, we've made a big move up. Bottom right there, big move up. Now we're coming to a bottom again, right? So we could be gearing up for another big move, okay? By the way, also bottom right there, big move up, okay? So all in all, obviously my bias is bullish, but it's not, unnecessarily bullish, right? It's bullish on the fact that we're looking at a bigger time frame. I'm not looking at a 15-minute chart and telling you that we're going to go up. I'm looking at a hourly, a 4-hour, a daily, and telling you that the trend is, in my opinion, still intact. Unless this TSR level flips and breaks down, I'm personally not really worried about anything like that, at least not yet. Okay. XO chart for the most part. Let's see here. Again, folks, if you don't know how to read XO or these trading light charts, come join Cryptosomniac, okay? Because every day I will put out charts in our community, and I will explain, as you can see. I did that yesterday morning. I did this even yesterday evening, and I let people know what we're seeing in the XO charts. These are basically, we call this L3 data, which is footprint statistics of how the market as a whole is reacting internally with actual dollar cost values. And this is only for derivatives such as the BitMEX perpetual futures contracts. And so you could see internally, like where exactly a lot of price was transacted, how many buyers came in at a specific level, what were the bid sizes, the ask sizes, what kind of, overall delta value are we seeing? Delta is basically, on a candle to candle basis, are we seeing, increase of delta, meaning that is it positive delta that we're seeing where, prices are going up and the bidding is getting higher, like as you can see right there, okay? You can see 54 million right there with 2.63 billion contracts, and then price again got pushed up because there was 170 million positive delta, right? But then we had a negative 267, and then that was followed up by this big bullish candle of $321 million, right? So the point is understanding how to read these, or at least, letting someone like me explain them to you will give you an understanding of, the numbers behind this stuff, right? We can see the charts as they are, right? A green candle and a red candle, a volume high or volume low. But seeing the numbers behind it actually helps you a lot because you get to see, say, decrease in delta, which in my opinion is a good sign, like this negative delta, right? We saw it negative 292, negative 45, jumped up again. And now I'm hoping that this delta right here either closes positive or not as high negatively, okay? And then we can start, pulling up, say, the 4-hour chart. And then you can see, since yesterday, what we're seeing is we saw 4.6 million and that increased to 19 million. And then over the last 4-hour that closed, we saw negative 43. So that means sellers came in, obviously, right? Because you have to understand why sellers came in, okay? sellers came into this particular area, all right, and I'll show you guys on the 1 hour. They came into this area to sell price off because they were defending the short stops up here. Okay, so they don't want price to push higher up here because then the short positions are going to get squeezed out, right? Or more shorts are going to get closed out. So they're going to defend their position and push price down, okay? Meaning they're going to open up more shorts or start selling stop positions, just to be able to defend this key lower high, all right? So what that tells us is for now, the bears are doing their best to defend that price. As long as this delta right here doesn't significantly increase, I don't really see, any reason for us to go down to the lows that we put in yesterday. What I probably say is this, negative 43 should turn this next one into say 20, 25, and say the following one into, maybe -5 or -7. And then hopefully we get then a big green candle by the end of the day, okay? This is the internal work of what it takes to grind out support or resistance, right? It's not just one candle that rips through everything. It's a gradual process of slowly absorbing supply with passive buy orders every candle, every hour. So you want to see strength hour to hour, or you want to see weakness from the bears hour to hour. Okay. Trading light, I don't see anything in terms of orders left behind, all the way up in terms of a danger, all the way up to $9,900 or so, as you can see right there. These blocks right here that you see right now are, let me see, I don't know why it's not popping up. There it is. So you can see these are orders that are sell side orders that if price pops up way over there, it will actually help sell price, meaning these are sellers, okay? And this one right here is a buyer. As you can see, he's a $15 million buyer. So if the price comes down to this level, which is 96.87 or 96.90, that person is going to buy. And you can see the bids are stepping up. See, you can 15.98, 6.6, 7.7, and they're going to try to drive price up because they don't want the price to fall. Okay, so these are bigger bots and algorithms that are helping defend price on any given level. Okay, so anyway, folks, I hope that session helps a lot. I do hope you guys come join Cryptosomniac. At the products page, I really do think that the membership is really worth it. As you can very well see, the gains reviews of people who are showing you, the clear benefits of their hard work that they've put in, what they've learned from the community, how we help them and guide them in this process of learning how to trade is by far, some of the most helpful things for people who are just starting to learn how to trade. Because sometimes you may get lucky here and there, but oftentimes if you really want to be a good trader, you need to do it consistently and you need to be profitable, right? So this is why we have a community that, we provide an analysis day in and day out, right? Every couple hours through the day, we let people know exactly how we're positioning ourselves, what to look out for, potential stops where I am looking out to get out if price comes down to a certain level, where I'm going to take profit. I make my position pretty clear, and so that insight and detail is, I think, something that people really appreciate. And most communities do not provide that. For them, it's a simple buy or sell signal. They don't tell you why, it's a potential buy for me, what the risk and reward is, why is it that, on this particular time frame, we're trading that, or why is it this asset? And so these are the things that we explain to you in our community, and we're very active too. For the most part, on any given day, we have people from all parts of the world, pretty much, giving you analysis of their insight. And so if you don't know what to do, you'll have other people who are learning or have learned for the last, say year or two, and they're now, sitting comfortably and happy to teach other people. Okay. All right. That's it, folks. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys come join. Hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, leave me a comment of your thoughts. Come join Cryptosomniac, or just join the Discord link below, which is the free side. Again, free side does not have as much information as the locked channels right here. But that's it. All right, cheers.